What up, though? Your boy Meech, aka the Sea Saint. Hope everyone's doing well. Time for another fragrance video. It is Friday, which means it's time for another edition of First Impressions Friday. And today's edition is for the gourmand lovers. If you are a fan of gourmand fragrances, if you are a fan of coffee fragrances, you definitely want to stay tuned for this video. Today, we're going to be talking about a fragrance from the house of Matin or Martin. They are a UK-based niche house distributed under the Gulf Orchid umbrella. Today, we'll be talking about one of their offerings, and it is called Raa'd. We'll, of course, get into the note breakdown. I actually wore this as my scent of the evening last night, so I'll tell you guys a little bit about my wearing experience and all of that good stuff. But as I stated, here's the box, kind of that black and gold. Don't know if I said eau de parfum concentration 100 ml bottle. The bottle looks very similar to the box in terms of the colorway. Very nice presentation here. This Taj Mahal like cap, very light. Also too, got to show you guys the interior of the box because the presentation is top notch. You get the notes here on the right side. The fragrance sat inside this paper like so. You kind of just flip it open. The fragrance sits up in there. You also get this insert with all of the fragrance offerings from the house, complete with each fragrance's note breakdown. So if you wanted to learn more about the fragrances from the house, you can look at this and kind of see if anything tickles your fancy. So very nice presentation. But of course, let's talk about what we get with Raa'd. I'm going to go ahead and spray this on a tester strip. Atomizer is not pressurized. I can tell you that just from wearing it last night, but very wide distribution, like super wide, because like I'm spraying away from my hands and it's still getting on my hands. Okay, all right, so let's talk about this a little bit. So let's talk about the notes first. So your top notes, you're getting coffee blossoms, saffron, and nutmeg at the top. Your mid notes are lily of the valley and iris. The base notes are amber, musk, vanilla, and tonka bean. So at the top, this fragrance has this very rich, creamy, baked spiciness. Like that nutmeg is very prominent, creamy and vanillic. It actually smells like, in the best way possible, eggnog to me. Like at the top, it reminds me so much of eggnog, but that kind of goes away after like 30 seconds to 1 minute. But immediately at the top, you're getting this rich, creamy vanilla and that nutmeg. The saffron begins to rear its head here as you get further into the dry down. In fact, you know, the first hour or two that you're wearing this, that saffron and nutmeg combination are pretty much the stars of the show, with that vanillic sweetness, that ambery sweetness kind of playing there in the background. The mid notes, the lily of the valley and the iris, I don't get that at all. Maybe it's just blended well into the fragrance, giving it a nice floral touch. My experience is mostly the top notes and the base notes. Now, let's talk a little bit about this coffee blossom note, because it is a little bit different from what you might get in a fragrance that has like a roasted coffee bean note. Coffee blossom has more of a kind of like a floral essence. It gives the fragrance kind of a vanillic, chocolatey type of feel. And you definitely pick that up here. It's not as like dark as maybe what like a roasted coffee bean note might be in a fragrance. As it dries down, it kind of smells more like, you know, like maybe like a cappuccino or, you know, or something like that, or a latte. Kind of has that type of, you know, coffee vibe. But this smells so nice. I mean, the quality on this is very good. As I stated, it does stay pretty spicy for the first couple of hours that you're wearing it. As it dries down, you do get a bit of the muskiness, bit of the powderiness as well. And that amber vanillic sweetness is pretty much playing throughout, along with that spiciness that you get from the nutmeg and the saffron. But I'll tell you, in wearing this yesterday, this is a very strong performing scent. I'm talking about 8 hours, I was still getting strong whiffs of this. Next morning when I woke up, which was this morning, I could still smell this fragrance because I applied it last night about 6 p.m. So this one has pretty good staying power, pretty good longevity. First couple of hours, it's a pretty strong projector as well before it starts to sit a little bit closer to the skin. This smells fantastic. One of the best gourmand fragrances I have smelled probably in the last year or two. Immediately a top 5 gourmand in my collection. I don't have a ton of them because I have limited utility for them, but this is immediately top 5. Most Gourmand fragrances you're wearing in the evening, in the cooler weather, and that's pretty much the case, the utility I kind of see for this. Because it has that little eggnog type of thing going on at the top, I do see this as a great fragrance for the holiday season. So as we're getting into like Thanksgiving, approaching Christmas and all of that good stuff, this is a fragrance that I'm definitely going to reach for because I love the way it smells. I love the way the coffee blossom comes across in this fragrance. Very unique fragrance in terms of having that coffee blossom note, and it smells fantastic. I'm giving this an 8.5. I'm sorry, not 8, 8.5 out of 10. Again, one of the best Gourmand fragrances, one of the best fragrances I've smelled overall this year. I really like this, and I definitely enjoyed my wearing experience. So if you like Gourmands, if you love Gourmands, if you like coffee fragrances, you definitely need to check this one out. Again, this is Raa'd by Matin Martin. Have you smelled this fragrance? If so, let me know in the comments section. I love to hear your thoughts about it. Be sure to check out my social media for more. Please like and subscribe on whatever social media platform you're watching this on. That would be greatly appreciated. Once again, it's your boy Meech, aka the Sea Saint. Until next time, take care. Peace.